Good morning and happy midweek. Midweek. That's how the Germans say it, it's midweek. We made it to the hump. Let's bring the sound on down. Oh man, guys. Time to get up and cracking and at 'em and all the stuff they say. Oh. Morning time. It's always good to be on this side of the ground, but man, morning. It's nice to be the weekend. I've got my Minnesota cup. I got a little bit of weirdness going on there. As you can see, it's filled to the brim with illy coffee. Ready to get me started on the morning midweek hump day, as Geico would want you to remember. I think they ruined hump day by that camel commercial. Man, how did they do that? We know we're getting closer. It's closer to the end of the week. So many things going on. Closer to the end of the week. Closer to Halloween, Saturday. Maybe get that candy out of your house. Closer to getting an extra hour this weekend. Don't forget this weekend. It's fall back. Get your hour back. Extra bonus. To have that extra bonus every single day would be nice. Fall back. So fall back this weekend. It's full moon this weekend. Halloween this weekend. End of the month this weekend, of course. Halloween. I love the internet memes that talk about, this year is the only year in the next 1400 years that Halloween will land on the 31st. Craziness. Happy hump day to the babers upstairs. Happy hump day, D. Oh man, a little stuffy with this weather. You just see I got my if you can't tell, it's the Minnesota cup. That's because Minnesota happens to be in the news. I don't have enough cups to cover every state in the union. We're working on it. We go places, we pick them up. Places we've been. Heck, places you guys are at. Love to hear where you guys are from. Throw it in the comments. Rainier's here this morning. Good morning as we get ready, getting everybody brought into the stream so we can get started on the news. The news. I still got the news all backwards. It's the way it is. We are changing things up. We're starting with the holiday. That way it gives us something to talk about while everybody gets on to the live stream in the morning. Rainier's from Washington, D.C. Are you from the D.C. or the DMV area? That's the question everybody asks when you're around one of these locations. Are you from New York City, or are you from around New York City? Are you from D.C., or are you from the DMV or the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia? I used to work with a guy that I would, you just get used to saying you're from D.C. When I was consulting, I'd say, I'm from D.C. And he'd say, well, do you live downtown? I'm like, no, I live in Stafford, which is the D.C. area, the DMV area. And he'd lose his mind. But it's easier when you're away. If you're out somewhere, if you're out in Minnesota or something, you can say you're just from D.C. That's easier than saying, I'm from a town an hour south of D.C. But Rainier is actually, he's actually from D.C., actually from Georgetown, in the city. Good to see that, Rainier. It's a lot of stuff goes on in the city. A lot of people down there. We're out where it's a little bit slower, not a ton. Good to hear that. I don't think we don't have a DC cup. I don't think I've got a DC cup. Spent plenty of time in DC. I could work down there for 8 years. On 9th and I. Yeah. So, love to hear from where you're from. Excuse the cough there. But it is National Chocolate Day. Do you know about chocolate? America spends $22 billion on chocolate. This is from a website, Philly Trib, the Tribune, Philadelphia Tribune. America spends $22 billion on chocolate every year. 3 categories, main categories of chocolate: milk chocolate, dark chocolate, or white chocolate. Chocolate's darkness is determined by the portion of cacao or coca solids from the beans mixed with cocoa butter and salt, and sugar, not salt. Earliest known documentation of using the cacao seeds is from 1100 BC. Can lower your blood pressure. Researchers found chocolate can lower your blood pressure when eaten in moderation. Dark chocolates have the highest flavonoids associated with lower risk of heart disease. Nice. Consumption is associated with lower risk of insulin resistance or high blood pressure. That's why I eat chocolate. I'm in it for the health. The health factors. The only reason I eat chocolate is because it's healthy. It is National Chocolate Day. I guess there's a bunch of National Chocolate Days, but today happens to be one of them. Alex is here this morning. Good morning, Alex. Good to see you early in the morning up in Adam. So that's what we got going on. We got some stories in the news. Today's news, as you would expect, is we're getting closer to the election on the 3rd. Many places have early voting started. Absentee ballot voting obviously has started already, and a lot of people are doing mail-in voting, mail-in ballots. And you don't have to. I guess that's a misconception. You don't have to mail in your vote. You can take it to an official designated drop-off point. You don't have to send it through the U.S. mail if you don't trust it. Heard crazy stories about lines already in voting. Early voting's open in some places where you can actually go in and vote. And I've heard some crazy multi-hour stories about people standing in line for 4 or 5 hours to vote, which is a good thing. I mean, people going out and vote. Go out to vote. Say it all the time. We're not going to pick a side. That's up for you guys to decide. So it's not a political show. This is a cyber show. We're not getting into politics. Go out and vote for your candidate. That's what you need to do. You need to vote for your candidate. We're not going to go any further than that. Eric, good morning. So what we got in the news, today's news, as you would expect, and it's probably going to continue this way just because of the current situation, is all about voting. The 3 stories today are all about voting. There is another story that I didn't cover, and we'll talk about that real quick. Emotet lures victims with Microsoft Office upgrade email. Just make sure that you know that there's an upgrade email phishing scheme out there. And if you click the link, you get the Emotet, possibly TrickBot. TrickBot's been hobbled, but I think it's still out there and running. Those of you joining, where are you from was the question earlier. Dad, he's got the great circling back around on it. Where are you from? I was saying we have our Illy Coffee and Minnesota Cup because we're going to talk about the Minnesota National Guard today. Activated and out in full effect. Eric, we know Eric's from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I think we have a Tennessee Cup. That's a good thing. We've been to Tennessee. He's been to Gatlinburg. I've never been to Gatlinburg, but we did go to Nashville. Cool little city. So a lot of cool places in America. So if you haven't registered to vote, I don't know if it's too late. I don't know if it's too late to register to vote or not. Go out and vote. You got to vote. You got to vote one way or another. Go vote. So we got some ransomware hitting a location. We'll talk about that. Got a ransomware attack on a voting site. It looks like they were all backed up. Piece of cake. Are getting right back in the game. Minnesota National Guard getting called up, activated to do their part. And we're going to talk about this unit because this is a new unit. We talked yesterday about some of the internet IOCs, Information Operation Command units. This one's from Minnesota. Minnesota's going out, and it looks like this is going to be a trend across the country as we get closer to the election, or maybe it's happening simultaneously. And Minnesota is the first one to hit the news, other than the one we talked about yesterday. Yesterday was a different unit, I think. I don't think it had anything to do with this type of unit. And then Trump's website, his campaign website, was hacked yesterday. So, Eric, that'd be awesome. I'd love to get a Chattanooga mug. We'll feature it on the show. I missed you last night, Eric, on the RMF live session. We talked about the prepare step at the organizational level. Things you do at the organizational level to get ready for the organization going to the RMF. You know, I get how NIST does it. NIST has prepare kind of in the center of the, if you ever look at their graphic, I'll have to bring up a picture of it, but prepare is in the center, and then the other 6 steps go around the outside. I don't see it that way. I see prepare kind of being broken down into 2 different tasks. Prepare at the organizational level has to happen before any system can start the RMF. And that includes before any system can start the prepare step. So I see organizational prepare has to happen, and then prepare is not really in the center. I don't see it in the center. I see it as the first step in the RMF. Prepare, then categorize, then select, then implement, then assess, then authorize, then monitor. And I see it that way. And each, I understand where they put it in the center, but each of the steps, you can always circle back to any of the steps at any point. I've got a little different map. When I teach it, I teach it that way. Break prepare into 2. I understand it's 1 step, but it's like 18 tasks. I think it's 18. I think there's 7 in organizational prepare and 11 different tasks in system prepare. So break it in 2. That's how I see the world. If you guys are in the RMF, you know about the RMF. You're heavy into the RMF. Updated. It's got a full-on update this year. This year was building to this. There's a couple documents in draft out there still, but we got revision 2 of 837 about a year ago, I guess. Just got 853 revision 5. 853 Bravo finally came out. I think Bravo's still in draft. 853 Bravo in draft, but it's there. It's something to look at now. And then 800 137 Alpha, how to assess continuous monitoring, are out there. So those are out there. New stuff going on. That's what we're talking about in the class. Eric was recorded. I understand now. I'm down. I owe you 2 recordings now. I owe you last week's and this week's. So I'll get those both out to you. Last week we had a good session. We talked more about career building, career management. This week, one thing we talked about last night was that the prepare step isn't on. If you look at the map for ISC squared, the CAP certification, the prepare step's still not there. They still don't have the prepare step on their map. We obviously, you got to know it. You got to be taught it. I think that's the part that sets you apart when you go look for that job and you can talk to the prepare step. I think that's important for a hiring manager. So anyways, enough of the RMF. Enough of the RMF. We are, you are so welcome. Oh, so welcome. We're going to throw the intro on, and we'll get into these 3 news stories. Get out to vote. Get out to vote. That's our first article, our first story of the first story of the day. It's not Monday, it's midweek, guys. First story of the day, we're going to talk about some ballot requests may be affected by a county cyber attack. I'm going to throw that back. We'll get through this news story first, and we'll circle back around that on that, Eric. Right back to it. A hack attack against the upstate New York computer County computers system raised concern that some email absentee ballot applications may not be processed, but the State Board of Elections said voting won't be affected overall. Cyber attack on 18 October, so it was about a week ago, encrypted about 200 computers operated by Chenango County, and hackers demanded a ransom of $450 per computer to unlock the files. Herman Erickson, the county's information technology director, said Monday, "Hey, we ain't paying your stinking ransom, man. We ain't paying it. I can do this all day. We ain't paying your ransom. We got backups. We're just going to back our stuff." Apparently, there was no information on there that they could steal and post, or they didn't do that, whatever we didn't do. Doesn't sound like they did the two-pronged attack, or if they did, there was no information that could be really sensitive. Public statement released from the Board of Elections said they're urging anyone who had sent an absentee ballot application in since October 15th to call the board and verify it had been received. So call the board up, make sure they got your absentee ballot request so they can send you the information. The board has redundancies in place that would allow the secure and effective administration of the general election. It was not an attack on the election system. So, it sounds like it was an attack on like the email system or however those email messages were being brought in, whatever system was bringing in the request for absentee ballots. Erickson said the affected computers are being wiped clean to remove malware, and all software is being reinstalled. The county's email system was down for several days, but it's back in operation. So yeah, that sounds like an email. Sounds like they attacked the email system. And if you sent emails in requesting absentee ballots, they may not have got it because they're backing up to a point probably on the 17 October before the attack took place. And if maybe actually since 15 October, so maybe the backup was all the way back to the 15th, or maybe they just want to validate it. Maybe they processed data up to the 18th and up to the 15th. They just want to make sure they got everybody. Anyways, they're doing the right thing to make sure that they got the absentee ballots all got in. Saying the state police and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security was investigating the attack, which appears to have originated in Hong Kong. It's possible. Obviously, it could be using that as a jump-off point as well. Chenango County is part of the 22nd Congressional District in Central New York. Looks like there's some contested debates going on there. Who's gonna win this election? So, what can you do? Why are they doing it? Obviously, this is the straight up normal attack. They're going for the $450 a computer. They didn't get the money. It doesn't look like an attack that was focused on upsetting the election. Looks like more of an attack. They were just trying to get the money. Just like most of these ransomware actors probably could care less who the president of the United States is, or who any of the elected officials of the United States are. All they care about is getting the money. That's all they really care about. So I don't think most of these APTs are a different story. The state-sponsored stuff, China, Russia, some of these other folks, North Korea, that are planning on meddling in the election, they have a different agenda. Most of these ransomware actors, ransomware groups, are just going after the money, and it's a target of opportunity. They know this is a big thing that's going on in the United States right now is the election, and if they can interrupt some of these polling stations, there's more of a chance they'll get the money. So that's what's going on up in New York, central New York. Did anything happen to the CAP exam? I heard sometime about it had been put on hold. Not as far as I know, Eric. We can check into that. We were just out on the site. One of the things we did last night is we went out to the ISC Squared site last night and looked at the most current, up-to-date listing for the exam that showed the the 7 domains that they're testing. And, you'd think 7 domains are testing the prepare domain, but they're not. They're testing risk management, which has always been there. Risk management has always been one of the domains that gets tested. So it's risk management, and then the traditional 6 domains of RMF 1.0. Nothing in the middle about RMF 2.0 yet, but of course we're gonna teach that. So we'll check into that, Eric. We were out there last night. We didn't see anything on the official ISC Squared site on the CAP pages about the CAP being on hold, but I could see them at some point. They have to cut over to the new domain material. They can't just ignore a whole huge domain. In prepare, there's almost as many steps as the rest of the RMF. I mean, it's a huge huge step. It's a huge domain. You really can't avoid it. So eventually they're going to have to talk about prepare. Prepare, there's a lot of steps. There's a lot of tasks in the prepare step. So we'll check into that, Eric. We'll check in, see what's going on with that one. Minnesota National Guard. Cheers to you, Minnesota. Minnesota. Probably pretty cold up there right now. Minnesota National Guard are on station, as they would, I guess I would say that in the Air Force. We do see some airmen here. I guess we still call them airmen. Airman is a soldier. Sitting there talking. That's probably stock footage, I would imagine. So this is from Security Magazine. Minnesota National Guard and other states report for federal cybersecurity mission. Getting called up to do their job. I guess if you're getting called up to do stateside duties, not bad. In a larger effort, including other states to protect the country's cyber interest, 35 soldiers from the Minnesota National Guard's 177th Cyber Protection Team, or CPT, will mobilize to Fort George Meade, Maryland, as part of a larger task force aligned under the 780th Military Intelligence Brigade, Cyber, to conduct cyberspace operations in support of U.S. Cyber Command and the Cyber National Mission Force. So, Minnesota National Guard getting called up to Fort Meade, Maryland. If you're in this area, that's up the road a bit. That's where Cyber Command is headquartered. That's also where the NSA is headquartered. Lots of stuff happens on Fort Meade. People in the intelligence community, they call it, here's your vernacular of the day, they call it just the fort, up at the fort. If anybody says that, at least out here in DMV, if you're in the government, if they say the fort, generally people know, talking about Fort Meade. This mobilization is the culmination of years of hard work by our highly trained and specialized cyber soldiers and officers, stated Major Brian Morgan. He's the 177th CPT commander. We look forward to putting this training to the test and work alongside our counterparts from across the nation. So I don't know. It doesn't say exactly. If it sounds like everybody's coming to Fort Meade. It sounds like there are, in the last part, the 177th Cyber Protection Team was created in 2017 as one of 11 similar units across the National Guard. So it sounds like maybe all 11 teams are coming to Fort Meade to protect the vote, so to speak, to help protect the vote in this Cyber National Mission Force. They can do it for Fort Meade. You don't have to be at the polling station to protect. Nice thing about cyber, you can do it from a lot of different places. So the unit conducts threat-focused, intelligence-driven defensive cyber operations in response to ongoing imminent threats as directed. One thing I wouldn't have thought this last sentence. Minnesota is one of only 3 states to have a full cyber protection team. Other units are split between several states, and this will be the unit's first federal mobilization. So they're going under federal order. So they're being mobilized under a federal order. So it's not being mobilized by the states; they're being mobilized by the national government. So they're being mobilized under a federal order, which is pretty rare. And I was talking about yesterday a lot, and I'm not familiar with the 177th Cyber Protection Team, but I know generally these units are made up of people that do a cyber mission or some type of computer job, I should say, not mission. They have a computer job during the week. So during the week, they may work, I'll just throw it at NSA, on one of the teams there that's doing cyber. And on the weekend for their drill, once a month and 2 weeks a year, they do the same thing. Do it in uniform. And that makes these teams very specialized. They usually are very highly trained. And I'm not saying the rest of the Guard or the Reserve is not highly trained, but these guys are a little different because all week long you're doing the same kind of mission, and then the weekend you come in. So you're getting kind of two different views of the same type of training, two different doubling up on training. You're getting it's just a different world. It's a different world, I think. I've seen some really, really smart cyber people in units like what I'm assuming this is. Information Operations Command, for example, is part of the reserves, and they have exceptional soldiers in the Information Operations Command. So something we're going to see. I would assume over the next few weeks we're going to see, or the next few days, I should say, more talk of these cyber protection teams being called up. And it sounds in this article like they're all going to Fort Meade. So it'll be interesting to see how this works. The first time these guys have been mobilized. The unit's been around since 2017. I'm sure some of them have been mobilized. I don't know if they've been mobilized as a unit or individual augmentees to other missions. Probably a little of both. So good on you, Minnesota National Guard. I'm surprised, not that Minnesota is just, of all states to have a full-on, if there's only 11 of these teams and Minnesota has a full team, that's weird. Kind of strange. I wonder how they got a full team. I can see, California probably has a full team because there's a lot of cyber out in California. Maybe out here in the Virginia or Maryland. Maryland probably has maybe a full team. I don't know. Anybody know? But anybody ever heard of these guys? Or any of these cyber protection teams? Anybody ever heard of these cyber protection teams and what their role is, what their mission is? It looks like on-call cyber. Obviously, I don't know. Let me know have you heard of the cyber protection teams in the National Guard? Third story up. This site was seized. President Donald J. Trump's website. Oops. I'll leave that up there, and we'll switch over to here. Go over to the Trump campaign. Trump campaign website hacked by cryptocurrency scammers. Not really a ransomware attack or anything like that. These are cryptocurrency scammers trying to get people to pay some bitcoins, not bitcoins, but Monero, I think. So President Trump's campaign website was briefly and partially hacked Tuesday afternoon as unknown adversary took over parts of the page, replacing them with what appeared to be a scam to collect cryptocurrency. So there's no indication that there was full access to what they say they've got. They're playing it off. The attackers were playing it off like they have full access to Trump and relatives, and most internal and secret conversations, strictly classified information were exposed, which in my mind, it would be really weird if any of that type of information was on a campaign website or a campaign system, but stranger things have been known to happen. I'm guessing it's just a straight up website that's why it recovered so quickly, as they just nuked it and brought back the last good version and right back to work. The hack, first noted by Gabriel Lorenzo Greschler on Twitter, seemingly took place shortly before 4 p.m. Pacific time. The culprits likely gained access to the DonaldJTrump.com web server backend and then inserted a long stretch of obfuscated JavaScript, producing a parody of the FBI, "This site has been seized" message, which, if we go back over here, that's this message was the message they're talking about. The world has had enough of the fake news spreaded daily by President Donald J. Trump, the site reads. It's time to allow the world to know the truth. Claiming to have information on the origin of the coronavirus and other information discrediting Trump, hackers provided 2 Monero addresses. It's a cryptocurrency. I'll give you an example here. It's like Bitcoin, but it's really hard to track. So that's why a lot of these bad guys use that and not Bitcoin for their illicit deeds. One address was for people who wanted the strictly classified information released, and the other was for those who want to keep it secret. After an unspecified deadline, the totals of the cryptocurrency would be compared, and the higher total would determine what was done with the data. So essentially they're saying, we took this data from Donald J. Trump about the strictly classified information, and we're running a poll, and essentially the bucket that fills up with more cryptocurrency is what we're going to do. One of them says release the information, the other one says keep the information secret, and the bigger pile of money wins in the end. PGP key was signed with a non-existent domain, planet.gov. The website was reverted back to its original content within a few minutes after the hack taking place. It's probably a virtual machine, and they just turned it back, just went back to a snapshot. Campaign communication directors Kim Murtaugh confirmed the hack shortly afterwards, saying there was no exposure of sensitive data, and they're working with law enforcement. Getting people to irreversibly send cryptocurrency to mysterious addresses is a common form of scam online. Once you send it, it's gone. Usually relying on a brief appearance of highly visible platforms like celebrity Twitter accounts and the like. This one is no different. It was taken down within minutes. So they just reverted. There's no indication the attack was anyway state-sponsored. While it strikes a partisan tone, anti-Trump, I think, is the tone they're going for, one can hardly say that it's a very coherent attack against the Trump platform. Again, just going after the money, man. They just are after the money. They want your cryptocurrency. Campaigns and other election-related websites are high-value targets because they're associated with entities like Trump. Though the diction seems not to be that of a native English speaker, there is no other positive evidence that the attack is of foreign origin. This is not the first time Trump has been hacked recently. His Twitter account was briefly taken over by someone who guessed his password. And I can't, come on guys, this is his password. MAGA 2020 ! That probably took like 3 guesses to get that one. But was lucky for the president not to mind collect DMs, direct messages, or otherwise rock the boat. So whoever took it over didn't really do much with it. Weird statement there. Lucky the president not of mind to collect. Yeah. Whoever attacked it didn't collect any DMs or rock the boat at all. They just kind of did whatever they do with Twitter accounts. Trump recently stated, mistakenly, it seems that, here's a quote from the president, nobody gets hacked. To get hacked, you need somebody with an IQ of 197 and needs about 15% of your password. Well, I think with this password, Mr. President, that MAGA 2020. But he had put an exclamation point there. If he had put a capital letter in there, then he would have used all 4 of the characters. Goes back to the password story from yesterday from Carnegie Mellon. So that's your 3 for the day. I see that Baffa Chapo's here. Take that off the news. He is late, but I'm here. Morning, peeps. Good morning to you as well. Trying to keep us on track to get down to 30 minutes. We're about 30 minutes, about 4 minutes over because we talked a little bit longer this morning. Talked a little about RMF stuff. Hopefully you guys got good things planned for today. We're running out of week. We're running out of month. Halloween's almost here. I know it's going to be a different Halloween because of this coronavirus thing. It's got a lot of people staying home. A lot of people doing that. We're a community. I can't say it enough. We're a community. We take care of each other. That's what we're going to do. If something comes up, we're going to take care of each other. Take care of your friends, your family, your coworkers. Take care of each other, of course. If you want to listen to this in its audio only version, that'll be out on the podcast later today. All of them, Amazon, whatever iTunes turned into, Google, whatever your iTunes engine, your podcast engine is. I think we're on most of them. Check us out there if you want to download it and take it on the go or something like that. It's available. Check out the check out the Cyber-Recon Facebook page. D's getting off the ground. That's Facebook / Cyber-Recon training. All one word, no hyphen at all. I think if you search for Cyber-Recon, will it show up? I think it shows up there too. I'll give you a minute to process that because there's a lag in the broadcast. That's what we got going on. Elections. We're going to probably talk, I imagine the rest of this week we'll talk about election and what's going on as we get closer and closer to next week. We're going to be talking about the election itself. I'm wondering what's going to happen because it's not all the election. They can't call the election on the 3rd, I don't think. I think there's too many people voting absentee, too many people mailing in the vote. I don't know. We'll see what the news does. Share the trivia night, and yes, it will. Yeah, so if you search Facebook for Cyber-Recon, will show up. But if you look for Facebook.com / Cyber-Recon training, all one word, it'll show up. Good point, D. The 19th, we're almost getting close. The 19th will be the next trivia night. I got to put a video together for the trivia night, so you guys understand. You got to go on Socrative to answer the questions, and then you're on YouTube to watch the video to be able to get the questions. But Socrative is an app you can run on a phone if you'd like to download the app. You can run it on your phone or tablet or whatever, or you can have a separate web browser open. And if you don't want to put any personal information in, you don't have to. I think the folks at Socrative are going to get some of your personal information or some information from you, maybe not personal, if you download the app. It's easy to use the app. I've downloaded it. They've got a little bit of my personal information, my information. It's easy to use the app on your phone and watch the live stream on a computer or something like that, or a tablet, and just answer on your phone. Most of the questions are multiple guess, as we say. It's on the 19th of November, 7 p.m. East Coast time. If you get there a bit early, we'll be online. The live stream will be running 15 minutes before, so you'll get the information on how to get Socrative, how to get logged in. You gotta get on Socrative to win the prizes. There's no charge to enter and play. You don't have to pay anything. We give away stuff, and it's going to have our logo on it because it's all part of marketing, of course. But come out and play. Come out and test your cyber chops. It is fun. There's prizes. Have your beverage of choice. Have your snacks. We just have fun. Talk a little bit. Mike Bravo won last time. We'll see if Mike Bravo can keep that string up and running. But that being said, I'm going to let you guys get on with your day. Because this is YouTube, right? Like, comment, share, hit the bell to be notified, give us a thumbs up, all that stuff that the YouTubers are going to say. That's what we got to say, because that's what gets us hopefully to rank, so we can keep doing what we're doing. So share with your friends if you can. If you have cyber folks out there, people that want to get into cyber, we're going to talk about the cyber news every day. We're going to try to keep it right down the middle. Try not to lean one way or another, left or right. Try to talk about the cyber stuff, not the other stuff. So, till tomorrow at 7:30, enjoy your midweek, your hump day, and we will See you tomorrow. Have some chocolate. It is National Chocolate Day, so the sign says. We'll see you tomorrow morning, guys.